Carol here. A warm welcome to my craft room. It is great to be back. Thank you everybody for your patience and waiting for my tutorials after this terrible illness I just went through. And I'm going to give away these 6 cards. I'll email you tomorrow if you are one of the winners. This is a card I did about 6 to 8 weeks ago. I'll have them listed. And because of getting sick there, I was unable to do the last 2. So I'm giving this card away that I had in my stash and the first card that I just showed you. And it is, oh, I have so much to tell you. And I don't know when to do it. I don't want to take away from the tutorial. It is a rather long one. When aren't my videos long videos, right? And I guess I'm just anxious to be back. I lost some footage. I worked all week to regain it. Here's another card that will be in the giveaway. This is the hot chocolate card. And this is card number 5. This is the card I worked so hard to get caught up before I got so sick. And I did not get that tutorial up for you. I don't know why. Like, what's with laying it down there, right? But you know why I did? I was petrified of getting anything on the back of it. So I had to stop and actually clean my surface there. Look at me go. And you will notice that it took many days to get this card completed. You'll be able to tell by probably the clothing change, the nail polish change, whatever. But I lost the footage of this little mini 1 by 1.5 inch book. And there's so many little techniques in this card that I just had to get it up. I didn't even care. So you know what I did? I did another book for you. But this is the first one that I completed but lost the tutorial on it. But like I said, I have another one. All the pages have script on it. It's 1 inch by 1.5 inches with a ribbon. I did the binding in paper to look like an actual book. And then I did the rose with the hanging metal on the back side and put a chain on there. And I'm just trying to get a bow on there with my hands. My big fingers, yes, yes. I can't wait to show you the elements in this card. And because my husband got me a new computer for my island, and an iMac computer desktop, and then he bought all new equipment for me and a new external hard drive. So I had to switch things over from my laptop onto all this new stuff, for lack of better technical terminology. And in the process, I told the Apple Store that I spent more time talking to them in the past week than I did my own family, because so many things were going askew. I was actually like, I still, wasn't that, I was on the end of trying to gain my strength back. And then look at me. I'm just afraid to get anything. I did this tutorial today. Yes. Hello. Yep. I did this today to show you the cards that we're going to give away, just in case it's been so long since I've been on YouTube, you probably forgot. And I wanted to show you these cute, beautiful cards I got from my friends, Tristan and Christy and Allie. Thank you so much, ladies. It just, look at this one. You put the trees up, you put the trees down, and the tag pops up. This one is from Tristan. Thank you, Tristan. And Allie Coop, I just love your card and the sewing, all the details. And Christy, your clean and simple cards are amazing. They're anything but simple. They're beautifully clean and illustrated. I just love them. And it was so thoughtful. Thank you very much. So I wanted to include that in my tutorial. There's nothing more special than to get a gift, in the mail, is there? Now look here we go. This is, I don't even know how, this is the start of the card. And I'm going to give you the measurements here in just a minute. by 7 inches. It's right beside me. Yes. Now, I tell you what, this card, I started out, look at this. I'm trying to figure out how I positioned this. And I used, on the front section, I used a Tim Holtz a Tim Holtz stencil. And in the corner there, I used it's right there on the right-hand side. It is a Sizzix die, I'm pretty sure, but I'll leave the information like I said. And I did that in the corner, and I did it for a lot of reasons, and we'll explain that later on. So what I do with all my cards, I distress it, and I took out my distress tool, but because you have, and I have here, of course, so many layers, the distress tool just wasn't going to give me the distress I wanted. So I took my Martha Stewart scissors. I love these scissors. They're so sharp. They're wonderful. So you know I like my cards thick, like a book, and I didn't get this footage, but there's a magnet on the front cover. So when it closes, it is magnetized. And because of moving stuff over, I did lose that footage, but I'm going to explain as much as possible to you. Each side of the card is doubled. So there's a card base over top of the front, the inside two portions, and the back, because I'm going to do a lot of wet on wet. And this Tim Holtz wood, I always like to say embossing folder, stencil. No, stencil, yes. No, yes. I haven't edited in so long, I can't even talk. So I used some clear embossing paste. It doesn't look clear when it goes on, but look at that detail. It dries perfectly clear. And then I put it on the other side. I didn't show that, but it goes right over top of that hole. I wanted to put back the portion that I die cut out. Now let's get into that little book. You buy these inserts. I bought these online, and what they are, they're cardboard pieces to put in your mailing. Like if you're mailing a card in an envelope and you want the front and back to be, you know, it not get damaged in the mail, you put one of these cardboard pieces in it. And here I showed how I did the front and the back with the cutout. The inside is with the Tim Holtz, the Baroque stencil, and this did not make it on this card. And here's the little book. It made it on the card. The tutorial didn't make it. This is one crazy edit, isn't it? I had so much fun making this particular book. I was saddened that I lost the footage, but I went and did another tutorial for you on one day. I took a day out and did another book because it's so crazy cute. And then that stamp and cutout for the front, I kept it in because it's so pretty. It's from Heartfelt Creations. And it was just my idea was great, but I lost the footage of doing it. So I thought, why bother going too far with that door handle? And then it had the nice wood background, but like I said, the preparation of it was lost when I was moving things over. So here we go, where I'm starting with this cardboard. I love it. It's kind of the consistency of a cereal box. And I'm cutting it 1 inch by 1.5 inches. This will be the front cover and the back cover. The rest you will do with your cardstock. And using cardstock, I don't use the 140 or 120. I use the 80-pound cardstock because when you're folding the pages for inside the book, it's easier that way when you're going to fold everything and crease it. It just makes it better. So here I'm just wanting to show you that you cut it. I did quite a few, and I don't, you know what, don't worry that they're exact like I'm doing here. I don't know why. I mean, you have to put paper over top of it. This is a Stampin' Up! Folder, and I'm showing you how nice and flimsy this cardstock is. It's just 80 pounds. And the 80-pound it weighs heavy enough to give you a nice, deep, embedded, what do they call it there? Impression. I do and create cards, don't I? I can't remember anything. I tell you, you take a month and a bit away and that's it. Now, what I wanted to do on this paper, it doesn't matter what color paper, beige, white, I mean, you don't want to put purple, but you know, in your white tones, beige tones, just any kind. I think this is more to the gray. I am going to cut out a section, just leaving a smidgen to fold. You're going to need one to fold over like a book and one to put down over top. So that's going to be 4 pieces. 2 that you're going to fold and 2 you want pretty exact to go over top of it. See how I'm folding it here? 1 by 1.5 inches. I'm going to miter right close to the corner. You don't, you know, in a normal album you would push out to get that fold, but in this it's not going to matter. I'm using use a really good liquid glue, and I'm using it's right here, it's the Nouveau glue. How can I forget that, right? And you want to put a good portion, but because you're going to put a piece of paper over this, it doesn't matter. Take your bone folder to help you. You know, my fingers, I'm losing the ability to really get in there. You know, it hurts my knuckles. Yeah, old age does that, I hear. But anyway, let's get serious, Carol. I'm just so thrilled to be back, everybody. Thank you so much for coping with me. So this is the one that I'm doing close up. This is going to go on the back of this, and I'm still going to miter the corners, right? You want them to look like the fold over part. And you're going to take any brown distress ink if that's the shade you're going for. And of course I am, because we're doing a neutral card in the cream. You're going to add a good portion of glue. I think this was more than a good portion, but what I do is I take my bone folder, in this case the Teflon one. I like it because it has that flat edge on the end, and then just drag it across and the glue will seep out, and then clean it up with a paper towel. So here we go, a great portion here, and it has that Baroque density in the card. That sounds good, doesn't it? Density. And so the folding is a little tough. You're going to have to hold it there for a bit, but it all works out in the end. And is this not a cute little album? It really is. And then just bend it back the best you can. And I found just pouncing it on my desktop there was great. And then blob some more on there, and you're going to not have to worry that this, you know, gets out of control. And the nice thing about this too is you don't have to worry whether it's upside down or upside right or wrong. It all looks good. And there you have the front and the back open up. Isn't that gorgeous? I did a different binding for closing each of the books too, which I think you'll really like. Now we're going to work on just cleaning it up, making it look nice on the edges. I like the mini distress colors because you can get control of it to do the, you know, the sides. And I'm just rubbing it direct onto the paper, and because of that Baroque embossing folder, it's fabulous, isn't it? Look at it. It's so sweet. I just love this color. If you pop over onto my blog, I'll leave a link that you just have to press. I will put as much of the supply list as I can so you can go directly to the link on where, you know, what it is and where I purchased it. So, yeah, so now this is the key. I did 2 of these. I made this book thicker than the original, the first one. I took 2 pieces, and as you can see, it's not the same color. It's a light beige. Whiff of Joy stamps. The background stamps are beautiful, and this has 3 different fonts on it. The printing one at the top, the Old English one, and then, oh, I'm trying to get situated. And this block is a Hero Art script block that I use in the first card. And this is Sweet and Sassy Friendship background stamp, a clear stamp. So I chose the middle one. I'm using the same color as the inside of the book. I'm not worried about putting this on a block or any type of tool. Just use your hands, put the ink on, and place it down, because you're going to be making those pages. You only need to do one side. It's 1 inch across by 11 inches long, and I did 2 strips. And that's a regular size piece of paper, and then you just, move it over to whatever size you're doing your little mini album. Mine was 1.5 inches long and 1 inch across, so I'm going to have to cut this paper 1 inch over and then the full 11 inches. That way, when I make my 1 inch score marks to do the book, it works out really nicely. The video is so long, I had to go to bed last night and wake up this morning and continue editing. This here, I just kept in. I know I didn't use it, but I wanted to show you, if you do a die cut on any place, say in the corners of your card, and you have a piece that actually goes over top of the actual die cut and you want to keep it in there, like for mine was the filigree at the top there. You can hardly see it looking, well, I probably can't see it at this angle, but you probably can viewing it. And I just take the whatever it is, like, this rectangle, and then I cut it out so that it matches right there in the corner. And that's the whole reason why I kept that in for you. Okay, now I'm getting serious there. So even though this was done with Distress inks and sat for a little bit, I was able to get a beautiful gold embossing powder put on some of the words that made it, very vintage. It wasn't completely gold. I did want to see this kind of iron type color on the script, but I did like it that some of the odd words were embossed and in that kind of a rustic gold. Actually, it looked quite nice to make the book. I didn't know how much to keep in the edit. You always edit down from hours of work. And I am redoing this book. It's not going to be the same as the last one. And I didn't want to speed it up that much. Here I go cleaning again. I didn't want to speed it up too much that you didn't get the, how to actually make it, because you're going so fast. It's just like, are you kidding? So I ended up scoring it at 1 inch, I think. I'm going to look at this one. And turn it upside down so you can see the score marks. It's awful hard to see if you missed a line if you have it the other way. Yeah, it's every 1 inch, obviously, right? Because the book is 1 inch across. Yeah, and and I kept this in as well. This paper was some pretty old paper. It was on its last leg, actually. Because I haven't shopped very much in the year 2017, maybe a couple of things. But so I went looking in my stash, and yeah, just like myself, this old stuff was just screaming to be used. You can't leave the old stuff out, right? And I thought, it's not going to matter whether it rips. And you put the glue on every other square and then fold it in. And if you don't make a mess like I did, everything is great. Look at that. It's just holding on with its last leg. And then I'm trying to you want to turn it over and put that one on there, I guess. You'll figure it out when you do it. Why do you have a tutorial, Carol, if you're telling us to figure it out, right? But you will. You just want all the pages to open up. and it's easy to figure out. Yeah, you can see I'm looking at, okay, I don't want to glue all my pages together, and I want to make sure that the printing, the script, is going the right way for each one of the strips, because, you know, when somebody's reading this book, you don't want it to be upside down halfway through, right? So that's what I did. And then right away, while everything's still wet, just go around and squeeze the guts out of it there so you can get all of the missing, or all of the glue that's in there out. And it's so easy. I mean, you know, there we go. I'm going to do the edges, and I'm going to distress actually all the edges there to make it look gold. And I slowed this down right here, as you can see, in slow-mo, because I wanted you to see the difference between adding 2 sheets of 1 inch by 11 inch pages, because you're only going to get half of that 11 inches, right, when you're folding it in every inch. And yeah, talk about slow. Yeah, you could go get your breakfast or your lunch and eat it and then come back. I was going to say this video is to make all those people happy that say, Carol, we don't care how long your videos are. Well, there you have it. This is dedicated to you. So here you have it. See what I mean? The pages, it opened up there, so it does look fatter, but it's not. There's only 1 sheet inside this one little book, and this one has 2. Now, on the other book, I used a piece of paper as the binding, and then I took it to the scoreboard and I scored it every score line to make those lines go across, not up and down, across, so it looks like a scored book. But on this one, I thought I want to do something different. You want to pick out, oh yeah, you want to pick out your front and your back. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but, and then I got some of this twine, and I thought I'd make a twine binding system there. A binding system. And yeah, I'm making sure, first of all, that the pages open up, they didn't dry shut. And yeah, give them some air, and then make sure the print is on each are going the right way. And you want to hold it quite tight to put your glue on right here. Then you want to put your front, and oh, I'm showing it to you in fast motion again. And now you want to put your glue. So I put glue on there, and this is what I'm doing. I am cutting off that twine. I'm going 1,000 miles an hour, but I'm cutting the twine all the way across there. This is what's going to hold the pages inside the book, is the hot glue and the twine. And I didn't cut it off. I left it hanging there at the end, just in case I needed the little extra bit at the end. And now I'm taking twine and going the opposite way. So I'm using the hot glue, and I'm just grabbing the end of the twine and cutting it off, because we will trim it on each side after we're done putting the hot glue on and the twine. Yeah. I'm getting so caught up watching how fast I'm going. So then you want to trim it off, and then look at it before you put the hot glue under your trim. So I'm just going crazy here, trying to get it all the way to the bottom. And I think that this look of having that twine makes the book even look older for some reason. I do like the other look, but anyway, I did like this. I'm glad it came to my brain. And yeah, I got the Final Cut Pro X. I wanted to say this. I got the new editing system, and I tried it all day 2 days ago, trying to do this edit on there. And I finally realized I'm going to have to learn that program before I try putting a video up, because it is a little different than the iMovie editing program, the Final Cut Pro X. I really like it, but that's what I'll be using next. I'm actually going through a course on it right now online. They had a free course for the month of December. So yeah, so here we go. Enough of that. I'm putting the glue underneath. We left that, right? And I used the tweezers so I wouldn't burn my hands as much as I'm doing there. Yeah, you're still going to get a little owie, but it's not going to be that bad as if you were to put it down with your hands. So I used those tweezers that I had the silicone ends on. I really like those. And I'm now trimming it just like you're trimming some bangs. Yeah. Remember back in the day, we used to do our kids, and we trim the kids' bangs when they were wet, and you'd want them way up off their eyes so they could see. And then you ended up, when they dried, they were almost to the back of their head. They would get so upset. Ah, yeah, it just brought back memories, this trimming. I thought it was kind of funny. You get that Dumb and Dumber look on your children, and it's not nice unless, they've done something wrong and you want to get even with their hair and say, I'll cut your bangs for you. And anywho, yeah, you want to distress that beautiful twine. And it's a nice thin twine too, right? Because you don't want to overtake the actual book. The book is so small, 1 inch by 2 inches, or 1 inch by 1.5 inches, excuse me. So now I'm going to take just some yellow, to offset the color there. I really like this burnt orange type color. And then I added some of the squeezed lemonade. And I'm going to do the same with the twine here that I'm going to do the closure. I'm just going to slide it across to make some of it, one half of it. I don't even know if I did every little bit. Oh yes, I did. Just every little bit, a different color of the two colors. And I thought it'd make the closure not look so twiny. How's that? And yeah, I'm going to do a video. My husband got me a new tripod. It's beautiful. Before one, I had it duct taped down like crazy. My old one. Excuse me. So it was really nice to get all this new lighting and this new equipment. Wow. I think he thinks I'm a professional. Or he knows I'm not a professional. And he's trying to make me seem like a professional. I don't know. It was awful nice. So anyway, you want to glue this down. I'm just yakking. I mean, what are you going to do for an hour and 21 minutes, right? You're going to have to yak as you're putting it down and burning your fingers off here. I'm taking some of the goobers off because you only want to keep the goobers, on the table, not on your project. And yeah, so I'm going to put one on the front, isn't that pretty? And cut it off enough because you're going to want to tie a knot or a bow, whatever you want to do. Twine's very forgiving. You can do either or. And it helps also to have a detailed hot glue gun. That, to get a small strip. And that way you don't have burn marks that thick on your thumb. You just have narrow ones. It's early. Yeah, bear with me. Did I tell you how nice it is to be back? And the beauty of YouTube, you can just skim through it. If you're finding me boring, you half senseless, just skim through it and see the end result. And I can't wait to choose the winners later on today and email you and send these out finally. Yeah, I bet you thought I was look, I'm just showing you. Isn't that sweet? I love it. It's kind of like this, I don't know, I really like this look. I'll have a name for it later. And look I'm reading. Yeah, it's really interesting. And now I'm going to try with my fat fingers and make a bow with it without you seeing it. Isn't this hysterical? That's what I'm saying. Like, some things you keep in and the good stuff I guess you don't. Now, okay, this is serious stuff right here. I took, I'm not going to tell you right there what that is yet. All I'm doing is showing you the difference. Get it in camera, Carol, of the two. One has a bow, one is thinner, different colors, just different look altogether, isn't it? But both of them are really pretty. And I'm going to do another project. Here's the one I'm going to give away. I had to take that and put that ceramic rose. I needed to have E6000 glue on it instead of hot glue. So I'm just making sure the binding's nice. And if you see, yeah, I'm trying every type of glue there. Oh no, that's to the binding came loose. You want to make sure it's nice and juicy so that it stays there and hold it down. You know, as I'm watching my edit here, I think I'm on maybe 14 nail polish changes. This card did take a while. Yeah, it's as funny for me to watch and edit as it is for you to watch. Maybe funnier for me because half the time, you know, I can't remember that I did certain things. Isn't that pretty? And on the ribbon, I ran the ink across it as well, so that you get the different colors in it, the shades of colors as well, you know, in it. And now, there you go. You see how thin that is? I must have had like a real need to show you. I really liked it. And then it's just so cute. I did these a couple of years ago in a video. I'll have to try and see if I can find it. I did a bunch of these back in the day, I think 2013 actually, and loved it because they don't take any time at all, really, just in this video. Yeah, isn't that sweet? I love the way the lines go across when you score them sideways on the binding. It looks just like a book. And you always leave a larger portion at the two ends to make it look like a real bound book. So now we're going back and I'm showing you what I didn't use. And I'm deciding right here, do I keep this? See, I was going to hang that book off of the lever of that water thing there. Or is it a doorknob? Excuse me. You know, half the time I thought it was a doorknob and half the time I thought it was a water pump. But whatever, I couldn't make up my mind whether to take it off. So I moved on to the next technique. I love this technique. Even though I kept in the mistakes here so you can see that if you want one look, don't go over top of it with another one because you will overtake the one look. But I kept them both in because I think you will really like the idea, especially over top of cardstock. Some you can go over top of a cardstock that you have used embossing paste on. It's just amazing. But I wanted it for the left side clean, you know, smooth cardstock. I wanted to go over it. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted to make that corner see-through or put something on it. And when you put tissue over top of it and you spray it with spray paints, your mists, you're going to get a beautiful look of stained glass. And we're going to see that here. So now, oh, look at that, a different nail polish. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, I love looking at that screen because it takes me back in time of all the days that I spend doing a certain card. You know, some take longer than others. And some, you know, you have to leave and come back and leave and come back and whatever. So I found this gorgeous stamp I don't even think I have used this at all, like a lot of things in my craft room. And it's the bird nest. I'm not sure who makes this. I got it at Michael's. And is that not, I just love it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put all of the bird nests around. This is dollar store tissue as well, just cheapy old tissue. And I use StazOn ink, right? Because you don't want any smearing, and especially on tissue paper. And you're going to crinkle up the tissue paper. So if you want those to look like bird's nests when you crinkle it up, use StazOn. Otherwise, it's just going to look like you have black tissue paper once you scrunch it. So I always laugh because there's so many of you that are way more talented than I am, probably most. And you're listening to me like tell you what I think, and you know, you're probably way more advanced. But I need to just express myself, right? And I have to use up the time. And this is fabulous. I took out these pencil crayons I haven't used forever. And I'm going to grab them just to see. Some were Stampin' Up! From back in the day. And let me see what I used here. And the Prima, I used the Prima colors. Yeah, Stampin' Up! In Prima colors. I just got up. If you hear that noise, I had to see what I was using. And there you have it. And you don't have to shade nothing. Nothing. Not nothing. Nothing. You don't have to do nothing. And crinkle it all up. This is why you don't have to shade. Just put some color on there. And this would have looked fantastic before I added the brown. The brown kind of, yikes. Yeah. So I took some baby wipes and I went over it. And then I started to really love the look of that crinkle that makes it look white in the background. I loved that green. And to add it, I took some crackle paste. Don't ask me why. It's the butternut crackle paste. I thought maybe it would dry more crackle, but I don't think you could get more crackle than me scrunching up that tissue. And I grabbed old paintbrushes and you're going to want to wash them right away. And then I set this down and I fell in love with this technique. This would look fantastic on just a card front alone. You don't have to do all 4 sides like I do. 2 sides, whatever you like to do. I just happen to like to do all the sides of my cards because I can't stand to see plain cardstock looking at me. Like white cardstock or beige cardstock or cream, whatever. So here's where I made the decision. Yes, I'm going to add the clear or the tissue to make on the other side it look like stained glass. And did it ever? I'm not kidding. When you put, I took my, what is it over there? My Mod Podge, and the Mod Podge will actually bind it even more to the page. I'm putting some tissue behind it, and it'll give you that flat look to it. So this is what I'm doing right here. It was kind of thick. I haven't used my Mod Podge for a while, and so I just sprayed a little bit of water, and then I'm going to add some water to that big pail and stir it up so it goes back to the original form it was in. That's what happens when you buy a huge pail like this at Michael's. Make sure you always clean the lid and put it on, that no air gets in there, because it will harden your the Mod Podge for sure. So here I'm just adding a little bit more brown and taking my baby wipe and manipulating it where I want it before the Mod Podge dries, obviously. And twisting it and getting all the paper to there. I'm just using straight on baby wipe. And this is like playtime. It really is. Then you want to dry it carefully to make sure that when you close the page, obviously you're not going to get that on the other side. But on that Baroque clear embossing paste on the other page, yeah, here's where I decided to take it off. That's when a new idea came to my head. And I just took it off because I knew, okay, I'm doing something else to the other side. And that's how I work. That's how I roll, folks. I can be right into a project and then rip half the pages off because another idea came to my head. How crazy is that? And it's so pretty when you're done. And actually, that little wee magnet actually magnetizes through all that paper and all of this work. So here I wanted to tone down that's why I left this technique in. The brown was just way too brown. So all you do is rip off a piece of tissue, take your Mod Podge, and cover it. And that's as easy as it is. And then you can spray it with a different color. You can, if you want it to be thicker, fold it over. More crinkles and wrinkles, yeah, just add more glue and push it together and it'll come out really nice. And I think here I wanted to add a little bit of yellow just to bring out, so the brown wasn't so vivid. And I can see a bit of the bird's nest through this. Right where my finger is on the left side. See the eggs there? Those birds really found a good place to build their nest. Yes, you can hardly see it. But anyway, you can see the full bird's nest on the bottom piece where I only used a thin layer, one layer of the tissue in the die cut. It's so pretty. And then when you turn it over, you see the bird's nest in there. So instead of spraying, I took the squeezed lemonade and a sponge, a full sponge, and I go around all of it with different colors of the Distress ink, just sponging it. I find it works really well. And you get to use those 3,000 sponges you bought back in the day. Remember when sponging with these style sponges, you know, were in, and then you buy in abundance and you're wondering, you know, maybe I should put them down in the jacuzzi and use them as face cloths or those fancy dancy sponges you get. I don't know if they're sponges, whatever they called. You could use them for that. I mean, there's so many uses for these sponges these days. So what I did is, enough nonsense, right? What I did was use the same colors as I did in the left side. So it's so pretty. I took the same copper that I had, that copper look, the old rustic look that I used in the little book. I grabbed that as well, and you can see it's probably vintage photo, and then you can straighten out your sponge and use the center for getting it smooth and spreading the color. Just so crazy beautiful. Then I took a baby wipe to, you know, help it along a little bit. And those are the three colors. Look at that. Oh, scrumptious. I love it. I love looking at it. So I'm putting the lid back on, but I am going to wash it later because I got a little bit on the rim and I don't want it to harden. Now I am going to slow it down with the colors that I used when I get done here. And if you hear this little ticking sound, I hope you don't. I got this clock. It's not a clock. It's like, it tells you all the times, all the way around the world. And it moves all day long, showing the different times. And it makes this, I just noticed it. I'm thinking, it's not my camera. It's that thing. And I don't want to stop it. Let's see the colors I used. The crushed olive, the fossilized amber, the gathered twigs, and the rusty hinge. That's the color, the rusty hinge for the book. I love that color. It's one of my favorites to date. I change my favorites all the time. And you can see the beautiful butterflies where the nest is. It's so pretty to me. I'm so vintage, you know. And then I'll just do paper, ink to paper, where I want it to be a little bit more vibrant here. And then I'm going to clean up, of course, and put it away, and then grow a flower and see what it looks like on that beautiful page. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Yeah. And I can't help myself. I wish I had slowed it down there. But I had these keys. It's a heartfelt creation die, and it die cuts at least 25 different style keys. And I did that in one pass, and I picked these three out. And I was going to hang them off that doorknob. I did figure out it was a doorknob, an old-fashioned doorknob. But I'm not keeping that page, so I wanted to figure out, okay, Carol, what are you going to do with these three keys? Besides, yeah, grow a flower again. I love these transitions. You know, I buy them, so obviously I want to use them right. I purchased those little transitions that everybody likes from a company. I'll try to remember to leave a link for you if you're interested. And my magnet's still working. I don't know why I put that in the center. Tried to close it. But I sure am happy with the way the inside turns out. So now we have to work on the outside. So that's what I'm doing here. I love clear embossing paste, don't you? Where it's just a hint of that embossing paste in the background. And now I'm going to use this one. This is an older stamp I have of skating rink, and it's a postcard. I'm going to use that penny black die with the white trees there underneath that tree right there for the outside of my card. I always just grab a bunch of dies when I start, and yeah, I'm tapping away. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas too, by the way. Anyway, as I'm thinking of what I'm going to be doing here and looking at the screen, because I'm not doing anything but shaking my fingers, But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody as always for subscribing. For my new subscribers, while I was not well, I still had subscribers joining, and that means so much to me. And here's the sugar pea dye I end up using. And one of them, it fits exactly for that postcard skating rink stamp. And the other one I used, I'm trying to think what, I used two of them right here. And yeah, we'll figure it out together. I can't remember back when I was doing this, but I do know that's a beautiful sugar pea dye. It has so many little things in there. It's just crazy cute. And one of them is plain. Oh, I was thinking I was going to put one on top of the other. So I cut my 140-pound cardstock here. It's my nice thick cardstock, and I die cut these out. And then I'm going to use the We Are Memory Keepers Half Moon Punch. I love that thing because it works instantly with just a punch of putting gift cards in. So if your gift cards are all different sizes, excuse my head, you get to, manipulate the punch where you want it. It's great. And I'm trying to see what this is. By far my favorite die cut set for butterflies. It has so many. It has butterfly, the guts on the inside. It has the outside little trim. It has the outer outside if you want to do shaker cards. Every butterfly is distinct. It's a different look. One of them has the inside and outside attached in the middle of the butterfly, so you can use it that way. That's what I did. So I'm just putting it on there, but you'll see a link to that. It is the best die set for butterflies I own that I like. I have a lot of butterfly dies, but this one I always seem to go and grab for this. And then you're just going to clean the guts out. They come out really easily for me this time. And here's the one where the outside stays on. And I'm trying to figure out why it's not coming apart. And then it dawned on me, Carol, that's because that came that way. You're supposed to just raise the wings and keep the outside. Isn't that pretty? It is. When you see what I do with it, it is so crazy pretty. Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, should I cut that off? And then I thought, no, I'm going to use that for the front page. So here we go with this cutting edge. You take it off, it's magnetized. And it's so funny. I put funny faces in there because I was laughing my head off. The reason why I grabbed this flimsy vellum, because I didn't have the strength to push down on my 140-pound cardstock, but it will cut it. It will cut it. It's just that I did not apply enough to it. So I used this paper and I thought, oh, isn't this cute? Both going the same way. So I go, okay, I need that one and I need that one. I always like putting my crazy mistakes in my videos because you're going to have to learn from it. So then I turned it upside down because I thought, oh, Carol, what are you doing? Even my dog is having issues with this. So I thought, okay, I'll use cards. I'll put the vellum over top of vellum so I can see where the mark is. And then I'm getting out my gift cards. And I'm thinking, well, that's not going to work. So I'm guessing here as well. And there's one, but it wasn't wide enough. And literally, you can spend a day and a half trying to figure this out until all of a sudden, like anything else, it clicks and you get it. It's not hard at all, and I'm going to show you that. I thought, okay, I'll cover it up. And then I went back to my original cardstock right there, and I thought, okay, isn't that sweet? Maybe the people won't mind if they have 16 half moons on there underneath their gift card. Yeah, you're going to have to figure that out. But once you do, here it goes. I'm going to show you. Yes, I got it. And I'm going to show you how I did that in 2 seconds. There's a knack to it. All you have to do, and then I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do with my butterflies? I was going to put one on each side of that's kind of cute. I was going to put one there and one on the other side so you didn't see the half moons like that. But I thought, no, I don't necessarily like that because I didn't want the butterflies to get crushed. But it's cutesy wootsy, and I'll clean up while I'm looking at it. And then I thought, okay, let me show you what you do. You measure it by, right there, you measure it by the silver. And that way, when you turn it over to do it the second time, you get it down. You just measure it by that silver plate, how far you need to come down. And use a piece of typing paper first, so you can make your mistakes without, feeling bad about having to throw out cardstock because you messed up. And yeah, so that's what I did. I don't know if I end up showing you the right way, but that's what you do. You measure by that metal piece. And now I'm trying to think, okay, I want to have gold, of course, on the butterflies. And I want to have gold embossing powders on my card. I just think they look so vintage. So oh yeah, and then you have to have some Coca-Cola sitting nearby so you don't tire out. Gives you a blast of caffeine. And I took the screw cap off. I grabbed a microcore brushes that I will leave a link to, and this is the Versamark liquid, and I dip it in there and I put it around. You do not have to be careful that it's precise because it's vintage. That's why vintage cards are so unique. You can make mistakes and still love your work. Yes, that's why I've got all these little hearts, because I just love this look. I wanted to remind myself that I love this look. Yeah, and there's my pinchies right there. Love that thing. And they're kind of wide there, but after you get it done, you can just grab a hold of the body and you'll be fine. And then whatever you don't want, you take another microcore brush and wipe it off. It's very forgiving, and it's the actual microcore brush, that's the tape. The mini, what are they here? I have them right beside me. My micro brushes, yes, the micro brushes. They're nice and thin at the end, so you get a really nice point to them if you need it. So we'll get cleaned up from that. I'll heat set the ends. I do both of the butterflies. I think I do all of the butterflies that I die cut actually, and put the embossing, or put the liquid Versamark on with the micro brush and on the body, and then I heat set it. That's pretty enough. Isn't that pretty? And then I grab the same colors and just, ink to paper. I put the yellow, and then I put this beautiful green. Nice. It's just, I don't know, the combo is just really nice to me. And then the copper there. So pretty. I just love it. And then you can work it with your baby wipe or your micro brush, whatever you want to do there. But I was happy with this just like that. Oh, so pretty. And now you can go around the edges, which I do. I go around the edges of the butterfly so that you don't see any of the white. So just grab yourself a Memento black brush or whatever you want to use there for the outside. And I'm doing the same thing for the other butterfly. And you can make it as thin or as thick as you want when you have that Versamark liquid. I keep a couple of those bottles on hand. So many techniques you can use just with that alone. There's my head again, excuse me, sorry. And now just putting the embossing powder on. The gold, I have different colored golds. And sometimes I forget to, I will put one shake of gold embossing powder on, and then I'll grab another one and put it in the same pile there. So that's why I have this screw cap, because this one I know is a mixture of two golds. Because I forgot to grab another piece of paper when I was spilling it out when I had two different shades of gold. I hope somebody else has done that, because it can be a habit that I get myself into there. So that's why I like the coffee filters, because it eliminates that sometimes. So I'll put that back in, and actually these two shades of gold look very nice together. And you can, heat set it and put it on as thick as you want. Here I'm just doing the ink to paper. It's just so crazy pretty. And yeah, just those 3 colors. And look at that butterfly. I think you're really going to like the way it looks on the page when I show you what I did with it. And then we're going to move on. Yeah, I'd love to hear in the comments what what you enjoyed about Christmas that was really pleasant for you. I think my favorite time of Christmas is the dinner. That, when the family sits around the table and everybody comes in to join in fellowship with food. That's my favorite. I'd rather a good meal than a good gift. I love my food. I don't know if it's because I'm half Newfie and half um, Ukrainian. We love our food. Our cabbage rolls. I had pierogi, cabbage rolls. Here I'm just going over the keys in the same color. And then I took these die cut trees. I put the same 2 colors of brown, and then I dabbed little places with liquid Versamark and dipped it in that same gold. Just odd places, so it kind of looked like birch trees. I love birch trees. Everybody knows that. And then you're going to situate them on the front. Yeah, and then I had ham, and we did a big fresh chicken this year instead of turkey. And mashed potatoes and gravy and carrots, and we had sweet potato pie and cherry pie, and I made 14 dozen chocolate chip cookies. There's that thing that we're going to stamp on, and it's going to go on the back. Yes, for the coupon. You're going to be able to, when I give this card away, you can give it away to somebody you want to give to a recipient with gift card. That's what I'm trying to see. I get talking about food and I lose myself. And it doesn't matter if you get stuff on it. Yeah, I was kind of panicking there, but you're going to stamp it. And I love this stamp. I've only used it twice, and I don't know why. It is the exact size of a postcard, but it's a skating rink scene. How nice is that? Love my Tim Holtz platform. I get it situated with the stamp on here, the clear stamp. So you have to make sure you turn your window whatever way is for cleared stamps and lift it. See, I had to turn it around, lift it up. But then I decided I want to put it farther up so it didn't shift on me. So I've got that on there, and I'm thinking, you know what? Oh, it worked out well there. I don't know what I was thinking, but I know I remember moving it up farther up the page because I wanted to get it exact. There we go. That way I didn't need any magnets. That was the key to that. And I love the fact you can take the door off and turn it around and stamp it, or ink it. Ink it. You don't have to do it like at a frame. I can just turn it around and show you just like that. Isn't this, oh, this is amazing. I could go on and on about this platform. I do love it. I have 3 of the Sweet Petunia platforms, and lately I've been grabbing this one. I really love the fact that you can take the door off for videotaping. So what I did here is I just took different colors that I thought would look nice. The different shades of green on the trees, and the people on the skating rink, different shades. I just grabbed any old thing that I thought would look nice, and you don't want it to be, this wasn't my focal point, because you're going to put your gift card over top. And the beauty of it is when they lift the gift card, they see this beautiful scene. And I think you'll like it. You don't have to use a ton of colors, and you could use so many other ways, with your zigs or your any type of markers to do this. I just chose to stick with clip that back in with the distressings because they were right by my side. And yeah, isn't this a beautiful postcard stamp? It can be any time of year, and we're getting snow today. It was minus 22 here yesterday. Look at that. And then whatever you want to move, you can color it in, but I wanted it to just have that muted background. And you can see once you heat set it, it does get a little darker. I did dip it down into the clear embossing powder, but it sat for a little bit, so not all of it got the powder on it. And I love that look when you're doing vintage cards. Not, you don't want all of it to shine. To me, vintage has that dull look, that matte look to it. A little bit of shine is great, but I like the matte finish on my cards if I'm doing that. And then I'm trying to squeeze out what's left of my, let me see, that is the Irresistible Pico Embellisher in the clear. So I ended up just pouring it out. Yeah, you can get so frustrated. And then when I was wiping it up, it smeared some of the ink. And I love that look too. So that worked out perfectly, And then I took my micro brush and I situated that Pico Embellisher. It's in clear. You will love this. It's thinner than using the, what is it that we always use? It'll come to me. And yet it dries in no time at all because it's thinner, the Pico Embellisher. And yeah, so there you have it. Isn't that sweet? And then I'll leave the name of this stamp for you. It's beautiful to send a quick postcard, isn't it? And there you have it. Just loving it so far. So we have to get our trees on there. And I used of course, I've been using the Nouveau glue. I really like it. And it goes on beautifully. Just squeeze it out. As I'm doing this, I'm going to share with you that I didn't do any cards for my family. It's so funny. I didn't. Even for their gift cards, because we generally give gift cards because they're older and they can go get what they want, And I just took a piece of paper and I cut it down into 4. And then I embossed each one just in the corner. A little bit of embossing and wrote on that and threw it in the envelope with their gift card. Is that hysterical? Yeah, they're going, boy, for somebody that makes cards, this one here, you really cheaped out. That wasn't their exact words, but that's, I had a good laugh out of it. It's like, I can't do cards for everybody. Oh, unless I was doing a YouTube video with it. I love doing these because I'm giving them away to my friends on YouTube, but can you imagine doing this kind of card for all of your family? I would have had to start early. I'm going to use sickness as my excuse. That's what I said. I didn't have time. I wasn't well. Oh, yeah. I can do that pretty good, can I? Yeah, but they all didn't mind, Once they see a gift card, I think I did do a birthday card for my son because our youngest son, his birthday is on the 23rd. So I thought I have to go out of my way for that. And here you have it. Now this is what I did. I don't know if they're glued down yet, but I put the keys on top of the pieces of white paper we put down, the ones that look more prominent. I set a key on top of it. That way you can see the keys, like, look, I just said that and I didn't put that one on there. But watch, on the other ones I do. Isn't that a beautiful heart key? I love this Heartfelt Creation die as well because it's one big die that cuts out all of these different keys. There, I put one over top of there. I knew I did that. And I love the way it just, it's just in the background. It's not in the forefront. It's not your focal point. I like that. And then with the butterflies, I went and got my die and I used my Big Shot Pro, that great, or Big Shot, that big one, that, what is it called? The Big Shot Plus, that's it. I'm looking at it over here. I changed my room around a little bit and it's now that one's just by me as well as the Vagabond. And what I did, I took the die and I took a mat and I embedded the die right onto this. Now because this is 3 layers, the back, and I was able to, the reason why I did the postcard, by the way, on the back is that boo-boo that you see there. Butterflies. Isn't that just, everything's coming together for me. Yes, on my 20-hour video. So I had to have gold on the edges so that you could see the little scallops. So the microcore microcore. Why do I keep saying that? The micro brush. That's what happens to people that are seniors like myself. We tend to get something, well, I'm going to stick to me. Not all seniors think like I do. They're much more crisp and alert. Yeah, I tell you what, some days I wonder. Some days I feel like I'm 18. And the other 80% I feel like I'm 122. So that will tell you a lot, won't it? We're getting down to the end of this tutorial. I almost want to put those little clap in there, but I can't tell you how much fun I have doing my tutorials. They aren't, you know, um, they aren't short tutorials, I know that. But the enjoyment of putting a card like this together and my other cards I'm giving away outweighs the time for me. And even though I have to edit, 8 to 10, 12 hours of videotape down to a reasonable time, and I think an hour and 22 minutes, I did the job I wanted to do, because I don't like to fast forward stuff to where you can't see it. Why put it up, right? I grabbed one of my pins here, my long sewing needles, and I used the opposite end so I can make a thicker piece to put that same twine in there, just to give it, I don't know, that little something something that I wanted on to match, so everything would kind of pull itself together on the back, so the back looked like the front as far as the little book was concerned. And then I'm just going to tie, I think I just tied this in a knot and let it go at that. I don't think I did a bow or anything. Oh, I see what I did. I put 2 little holes and ran it up the back, and then I'll tie it. I didn't do it so that it was totally over the top. Yeah. And then I'm going to try once again with my chubby little fingers, trying to decide whether I'm going to put a bow or just tie it in a knot. Let's see what I do, because I can't remember. Did I just do a knot? Yeah, there it is. It's a knot. Now here's that butterfly that die cuts attached at the middle portion of the body of the butterfly. Is this not cute or what? And I decided to fill some of that space up right there. And I'm just putting the glue on the outside so that it will stay, because remember we have that Tim Holtz embossing, clear embossing paste on there, so you're going to want to have a good glue, liquid glue, if that's your choice. I like the liquid glue. The Nouveau is great. And look at this. You just lift it up, and yeah. And what I did on the We Are Member Keepers, I put a little notch in this on the silver, and I'm showing you, see, not every card that you have to give away is the same size. Look at the Canadian Tire card, bigger. The Visa gift card, even smaller than the Canadian Tire, and then the Apple one is smaller than any of them. So just measure that out. And that's another thing that you could do. Yeah, I'm seeing, why is this just a little tight? So all you have to do, what happened was the glue seeped underneath, and I had to just take something flat and work my way across the 2 half moons there. Yeah, yeah. Hello. Look at that. He doesn't even care. I'm trying to show you this important portion of, yeah, my dog. He doesn't listen. What can I say? Needs to have some training, doesn't he? So now here we go. Of course, back to the gold. I had to have gold on the back. And I want to stress here that it looks really nice if you can remember, and I can remember, to put the liquid Versamark on the inside as well as just the outside. Otherwise, you're going to see, when you open it up, it's going to look more like a line of gold than all the pages. The thickness of it is gold. How's that? I'm trying my hardest. Let me see this edit. I started at 8 this morning, 9, 10, 11, 3 hours. Because you stop and start, stop and stop, and start and start. So I want to show you there. Doesn't it look nice when you apply the Versamark liquid right there? When you don't do it intentionally, don't do it to make it look straight. And here I'm going on the inside. I'm just rolling out the liquid, and then I'll put the Versamark, or the powder, excuse me, the embossing powder on that, and it'll look more uniform. And I love the way it's kind of globby on the outside, so that it looks like it kind of poured down the card, that gold. Just the look just came together for me. I really liked it. And I tried to stay on screen here as I was doing it. And I made it nice and thick with the powder. You can go over it and over it, whatever thickness you want. And on the back, I think I only did the L shape, like the outside, which looking at it would be your left side, and then on the bottom here. And I left it kind of goopy. See how I did that? And can I just stop right here to interject? I hope that my tutorials, I know they're rather long, but I hope that you enjoy just picking up a little bit of technique that I put in. You know, these techniques are not my own techniques. We never come up with anything that hasn't been done before. You know, nothing new under the sun. Solomon said, everything, you know, is in the back of your mind. You've either seen it, or mostly you've probably seen it before. Could be in a magazine, could be anywhere, on YouTube years ago, and then all of a sudden the idea comes to you. But I make sure that I say none of it is new. It's not mine. But when I'm doing my cards, I'm so glad that they pop back into my mind to do it. So this just proved me wrong, because look what I did. I did the opening. So basically, I did all the sides, I think. And see where I die cut this? I put a piece of paper on the, like cardstock, on the inside of the back page, because I did not want that to be see-through. I wanted it to have cardstock, kind of like an illusion of doing die cutting it into the paper and putting the piece back in, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And now we're going to move to the front, and I don't want my trees looking like they're floating, so let's do some gold land on there. I just think it will look super. And I wish I had to put a light behind that die cut there in the corner so you could see how it really does look like stained glass. It's so see-through. The nest, you can see right through it because I separated the tissue and only used one layer on that portion. That was the key to get that look of stained glass. The thinner the tissue, the better. So just use one layer behind your die cut. I took I took a paintbrush, an old paintbrush that I keep handy for stuff like this, and took off what I didn't want. And then we're going to heat set that. Doesn't that look pretty? I love that penny black die cut of the trees. It's so nice. And that's, you can see everything kind of went together with the Tim Holtz wood grain background. I like using clear embossing paste powder, and then the trees went with the same theme. And then I thought that die cut looked kind of woodsy, the butterfly coming off the page, just the wings. And I was saying with the Big Shot Pro, I ran the mat, so the squishy mat, I ran that through the die cutting machine so that it embedded those inside big butterflies. That way, I put a layer of butterfly on there, and that I die cut, and then on top of that die cut, I put the butterflies that we colored, and I put that on top so it's kind of raised up. I don't know if you see it there. I'm going a little fast here because I'm just trying to show you that I did the outside edge. So I have the inside and the outside done with the powder. There you go. And The card fits in there, matches my nail polish. What a good day that is when that happens, when you're doing a video, right? Yeah, there's the die to the right hand side. Isn't that lovely? That's the pennyback black die. And it actually was even. Can't get any sweeter than that. And there you have it, my friends. Now we have 8 minutes left, I think. I'm just going over the gold to make sure that it's all heat set. I don't have to heat set anymore. The magnet is working, and I wanted to apply, the butterfly just didn't seem to pop to me. So I put the same colored inks. I put a little tissue paper behind it so I didn't mess up the card. And you want to put a piece of paper or something there, because if you're like me, yeah, I just use this set. I love this stamp set that says "Sending Blessings from Our House to Yours." I like that. That's a Catherine Pooler stamp, and I think it's only $5.95. It's nice to have for the back of your or front of your envelopes. I'm going to try all of these links on my blog for you. I'm putting 2 little pearls in the background. I'm not going to color them, just leave them the pearl color. And there's the butterflies on the inside. And I am going to have a sentiment. Yes, you're wondering, okay, Carol, where's that sentiment? Yes, it is a sentiment. And you can use this card for either Christmas. If you win this card and you like to give it away, you can do it any time of the year, because I didn't put, I don't think I put Christmas at all on this one. But we'll see, because I can't remember, but we'll see. I took my crocodile to make a hole right there. Oh, excuse me. Look, doesn't he have an attitude when he goes across there? I tell ya. Yeah. And I haven't named him yet. I'm going to have to think of a name for him. He's so cute. So the magnet, yeah, it's magnetized. I'm going to put a piece of that twine in the natural form. Just a piece of the twine, run it through the link of the chain, and then I'm going to tie it right here in a bow. That way, the recipient wants to open it to show people, and you want to open it so that you can see how it's done. Whatever, you just unhook. I didn't want to make it permanent on the card. And doesn't that look sweet? And that's another thing. The twine has the same line of thought with being everything woodsy. You know, the book woodsy, everything. I just think it's so sweet. And I love those big butterflies, how they just come off the page there. And now I'm going to use one of my heart dies that has the scallops to match the scallops on the, oh, I did use Merry Christmas. I'm so glad. I love this. I love this stamp, by the way. Yeah, I wanted to match the, especially for you at Christmas. This is one of my favorite Christmas stamps. Yes. I knew there was something that I missed. Oh, you have to forget everything I said before of being able to use it other than at Christmas, because it does say, I love the font. Isn't that pretty? Wow. I love the font on that. And I did it in gold, of course. And especially for you at Christmas. Well, how could I give Christmas cards away if it doesn't say Christmas, right? I don't know what I was thinking. And then I sponge the edges. And I actually take that, I'm pretty sure I take that sponge and sponge the inside with that kind of citrus green and the yellow. I'm trying to think of what I did here, but I know I did not leave it white like this. There would be no way I would do that. Yeah, here I come, the squeezed lemonade. Yes, I'm going to put it right there. Even though it's going to cover a little bit of that up, but that's okay. Then I put some of the green in there, that citrusy green. I love that color. With the dark green on the edges, I think it just had that, yeah, and some brown, of course. You're going to want to put this, this is the same color when you go through the list that I used for everything else. Isn't that beautiful? It doesn't take away from anything at all. And yeah. And when you make a vintage card, other than the back, I didn't want anything on the back. That's why I'm kind of making sure everything is nice. And I thought that looked nice too, but it took away from the book. So it's going right there. Well, my friends, we did it. Look at that. An hour and 22 minutes. And if you stuck with me, thank you very much. And if you didn't, I hope you enjoyed the pictures at the end. I really think this card would be nice to use whatever page for a front of a card. And yeah, I'm having another sip of my Coca-Cola there. Will it ever end? I doubt it. I do like my Coca-Cola, but I am cutting back, just to let you know. And yeah, thank you for your comments. I always like to make sure I tell you that. It makes my day when I go to read them and I'm able to answer you back. It's only fitting if you take the time to email me that I answer you back. And I enjoyed that. So yeah, isn't that pretty? Especially for you at Christmas. I'm going to email the 6 winners and wait for you to get back to me with your address. And go over on my blog. I will try to leave all of the supplies that I use, as many of them as I can find. And you take care of yourself. I pray everybody is healthy and you're enjoying your day. So we shall see you on the next tutorial, like I said, and thank you very much for making my channel so special. Take care, everybody.